Work on yourself. Again, I'm saying it is not a must you go back to school, but it is a must you improve yourself by picking that book, scheduling those useful YouTube videos like the one you are watching, something that will trigger you to do something with your life. Because again, we are not only doing it for us. There's normally a song that normally sings that, may the ones who come behind us find us faithful. May my children one day stand and say, Mom, you tried. May my grandchildren one day look at this video and say like, Shosho tried, our grandmother tried. Yeah, but that will never be achieved if we don't take that step. If we are not careful, our children will be ashamed of us. They'll be like, no, you didn't do anything with your life, and that's why we are suffering the way we are suffering. So even if it is not for yourself, let us step out there and let us do it for our children that I'm sure we love so much. And while we do it, let's ensure we have a life-work balance so that we don't lose our children, and again, we don't lose our Hello, my dear friends. How are you? I hope you've all been well, yeah? Karibu sana to another episode of Evolve You for You. If you are new to this channel, welcome. And even as you watch, may you be blessed, yeah? So at some point in my life, the company had grown and I was doing a lot of hiring. Unfortunately, even a lot of firing, yeah. In the process, I will do a lot of interviews, and some of the people that I was doing the interview for, they were graduates, undergraduates, and even MBA graduates. And I had two scenarios of people during that time. There are these people who like didn't even totally fit, and some of them were graduates. They didn't totally fit into even what I was looking for, and was like, what did these people study? Now they can't even stand a simple interview. Now there's another category of people who maybe during the interview they will end up, it's like it was them who were interviewing me, yeah, because they were so skilled, and it's like I couldn't handle their level of experience and skills and even their communication skills, yeah. But today I'll concentrate more on this other category that for some reason, yes, they were graduates. They will flop in the interview, or maybe during the interview, because they had rehearsed, researched, read some interview, whatever, now they were good as far as their interviews were concerned, yeah. But after I had absorbed them into the company, they started struggling with what they did, yeah. I remember a particular incident where I had an undergraduate who specialized in HR, yeah, and she would really struggle with the tailors. Every time she would tell me like, Madam, we need to talk, there's a problem. And at some point I noted like the issue that she had at hand, most of them were communication skills. She didn't know how to relate to the tailors, how to communicate with them, how to coordinate them. And I thought like, no, I think if you've gone through university for 4 years, at least you should be able to do a similar thing, yeah. And even on the same note, we have a lot of business graduates who can't even take a box of biscuit and sell. Yeah, they have their certificate. I was wondering what is happening. Why is there such a big disconnect between what the marketplace needs and what the universities are producing. Yeah. So of course, at the back of my mind, I always had a dream to go back to school. So at some point, I was like, okay, fine. I think it's time for me to go back to school. So I just decided. It was not even a planned thing. I was just like, okay, fine. I need to do this once and for all. Yeah. So I went and enrolled in a university. And even as I was on that line, just waiting to be enrolled, I was like, am I really doing this? Because a few weeks ago or months ago, it looked like a far-fetched idea. Yeah. But here I was at some point, I was really enrolling. So the classes started, and I noted some things in the classes. And maybe I can point out these ones as one of the things that leads to that disconnect. Yeah. Now, in the first place, the classes will start with very few students present. Yeah. Most of the students will be mature people like me, a few of us who decided to go back to school. And then later you'll see the youngsters strolling to class. Some of them, even the way they were dressed, they were not even ready for class. They will even come to class with their Crocs. And some of them didn't even have notebooks just to take the notes. Some of them, when the classes were going on, you'll see them scrolling on their phone, and it's like they're just in another world. And some of them even couldn't submit the cards on time, and the group discussions, you will be placed in a group with them to discuss the assignment that has been given for the group, and they will slag. They'll not have anything to contribute. They'll not research. They'll not do their due diligence. And I was like, what is it? Is it that they are not mature enough for classes? I understand that most of them were fresh people from high school, and it's like they didn't know the journey ahead. They didn't know what was expected of them. Some of them felt like they were really like studying for their parents or for whoever brought them. And sad enough, most of these students are on help loan, but they're playing. Yeah. In few instances, like, I just paused and I forgot that I was their student. And I will tell them, like, if you only knew the opportunity ahead and what maybe not only the papers, but the acquired skills can help you with in the marketplace, you wouldn't joke with this opportunity. But most of them, let me say, they were babish. They didn't literally know what was at stake. Yeah. On the other hand, there were people like me who were running a business. At that particular moment, I had 4 branches, and even going to classes during the daytime, it was a big sacrifice. Actually, I had 4 branches. I had 4 children, who some of them were even taller than some of my classmates. Yeah. And also I was still balancing the church, okay, where I was serving in the church. Yeah. So I had like 3 key things to balance. My every minute was worth it. But here there were people who even didn't know like why they were there. That they were behaving like they are studying for their parents, or they are doing the society a favor by just being in school and maybe not roaming somewhere in the street. Yeah. But anyway, some of us, this was a dream come true. This was more of a prayer request. This was a miracle for us, and we embraced it. Yeah. Other than embracing the fact that I went back to school, I also took advantage of the amenities around. Yes, I had paid. Of course, there were field and all those other amenities. I had paid for them. And as my culture is, I just had a culture of dragging my children where I was going. So during holiday, I would put them in the car, drive with them. They will just play around, enjoy the basketball pitch and any other facility they can. In short, they really enjoyed the environment of the campus more than even I did. Yeah. And that one, I did it purposely so that at least they have an idea of what a campus looks like. Yeah. Maybe they just have the feel of this is a possibility, this is the environment here. Now, today I'm not talking to the people who your great great grandfather graduated, your grandfather graduated, your parents graduated, all your siblings have graduated. No, today I'm not talking to you. Today I'm talking to people like me, who may be being the first graduate in the family was more of a miracle. Yeah. And we had to break this barrier. Actually, my going back to school was not out of that much of a necessity. My belief and my thoughts, and even if you see some of these people we admire, like the people who have really made it in the world, they dropped out of school. But don't be fooled. Yes, they dropped out of school, but go and Google these people again. They might have dropped out of school, but these people read at least one book a week. So don't console yourself and say, oh, after all, the owner of so and so and the owner of what and what dropped out of school. Please finish the sentence. They dropped out of school, but they are reading one book a week. When was the last time you picked a book and read? When? Yeah. So my point is that me going back to school was more of breaking this barrier so that my children can have a leeway and they can literally know that it is a possibility. And yes, I went. I did the 4 years. God was so faithful to me. I didn't lack fee at any particular moment. Actually, I drove to school all the 4 years and learned a lot. I learned a lot. And actually, towards the end of this season, it happened that that's when I hurt my leg. When it was the last unit, I think the devil was like, no, I can't believe she's finishing, she's going to graduate. So that's when I had that leg hurt injury. Yeah. And I went into surgery and I requested my lecturer if maybe he could allow me to do the unit at home through online, and he agreed. But funny enough, a few weeks later, that's when the first case of COVID was announced in our country, and the whole class joined me on our online class. Yeah. Through all, God was there. He held me. He provided for me, and everything flowed out as planned. Yeah. And then also what happened is that we were the people who didn't get an opportunity to graduate physically. We graduated virtually. Yeah? We are the ones who are doing the dishes in the house, and then you hear your name being shouted at the television, and then you're like, okay, should I say yes? Should I stand up? Should I jump? Should I do whatever? But anyway, when they count the people who graduated, I am one of them. And we give God all the glory. So, what did I learn from this quest of going back to school, friends? Number one, I learned that it is not too late. I told you that I went back to school when I had 4 children. I was running a business that was doing good. And at the same time, I was still serving in the church. Yeah. A lot of times we normally look at our age, we look at the circumstances, we look at the things, and then we rule ourselves out. Back to my good book here, it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It has everything to do with you deciding that I'm taking this step. Again, I repeat, it doesn't have to do with going back to the university to study. You may not have the qualifications, you may not have the stamina to hold the studies, because the studies are not a joke, yeah? You may not have all that. But my point is, you can do something. You can start that business. You can take that course, be it in baking, in tailoring, in painting, whatever you love. You can even learn how to do hair, yeah? But at the end of the day, it is not too late to start doing something. And honestly, friends, even by the time I now decided I was going back to school, somehow I was afraid, because honestly, I didn't know where the money was going to come from. But again, there are a lot of encouraging scriptures about the same. When you take that step of faith, God stands by his word and he provides for you. I recently had a very nice lady talking, and he was saying that our God is not a wicked God. He'll not make you stand on top of a rock, then kick that rock and make you fall. He'll stand by you. He has said that he will never leave you nor forsake you. But you have to make that step so that his power can be manifested in your triumph. Yeah. The second thing I learned is that we have to balance priorities. Going back to school after 4 children, with all the other responsibilities as I had, it was not a joke. It was not a joke. Many are the times that I was just tired. I just felt like I can't take this anymore. And even I felt like I was stealing into the family time. That's why at some particular moment I decided that, okay, fine, if it is during holidays, I'll be going with my children, so that I have that balance of like I'm not alone. So like we will go, I have my classes, I pop out, I check on them, we have some food in the cafeteria, I tell stories with them, then I rush back to class and do whatever I have to do or for the next session. And somehow I did not lose that touch with my family during that time. Now, to my fellow parents, yeah, a number of time us taking a course has come out like a curse to the family instead of a blessing, because all of a sudden we've pushed them aside and we've said that no, it's my time for doing my MBA or for my doing whatever the course you are doing. If we can balance the two between family and education, we will be super. Because again, we don't want to get these millions, these billions, and then at the end of the day, you lose your family. So we must strike a balance between all the things that we need to prioritize on. The business should not fail. It's not an excuse to stop serving in church. And your family should not suffer simply because you decided to start this business, to do that course, to go back to school. No one should suffer. Yeah, we should strive to have success in all aspects of our lives. What I learned again are the opportunities that are there. The opportunities don't shout. Actually, again, another interesting quote I normally have is that opportunity come dressed in overalls. They look like work. They are work. They are work. Starting that business is work. Reading that book, one book a week, that is work. Yeah. Maybe going back to school the way I went back to school, it's work. But the opportunities lie behind the work. Yeah. So just know that the opportunities are there. If we decide to work on ourselves, time and chance again happens to all of us. The only question is when that time comes, when that opportunity comes, will you be ready? Will you have worked on yourself? Or you will continue praying when the door is widely open simply because you don't have the qualifications needed to get in? Yeah. So friends, that is what again we learned this week, that work on yourself. Again, I'm saying it is not a must you go back to school, but it is a must you improve yourself by picking that book, scheduling those useful YouTube videos like the one you are watching, something that will trigger you to do something with your life. Because again, we are not only doing it for us. There's normally a song that normally sings that, may the ones who come behind us find us faithful. May my children one day stand and say, Mom, you tried. May my grandchildren one day look at this video and say, like, Shosho tried, our grandmother tried. Yeah. But that will never be achieved if we don't take that step. If we are not careful, our children will be ashamed of us. They'll be like, no, you didn't do anything with your life, and that's why we are suffering the way we are suffering. So even if it is not for yourself, let us step out there and let us do it for our children that I'm sure we love so much. And while we do it, let's ensure we have a life-work balance so that we don't lose our children, and again, we don't lose our families. Till next time, once again, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and just promote the channel and encourage us to produce such insightful thoughts. Thank you.